Hi guys, good afternoon. I am back and I want to take this opportunity to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for such an overwhelming response on my last video on healing. I appreciate the time, patience and energy you have devoted in listening to my 40-minute long story about my healing, and your comments, your response only makes my heart fonder, and it makes me move forward and inspire me to keep on sharing my story. And if that can become a lesson, a new direction or a new dimension for someone else, I am more than pleased, and I'll keep on doing that. I promise from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all. So today we are connecting again, and what I'm going to talk about today, it is about something which we all think that we can control with our willpower. At times we hold our willpower strong, and at other times we succumb to it, and most of the time it is an endless vicious circle, and we don't know why it is happening. So there are no prizes for guessing what I am going to talk about. I 100% know that you must have guessed it, and yes, your guess is right. We are talking about sugar cravings. So each one of us at some point in time, or maybe every day, we go through periods of low energy, and we want to grab that thing lying on the dining table, something which you have kept for your child and you want to eat. Maybe it's a chocolate, or it's a donut, or it is some kind of an Indian savory, some sweet, something like that, and you try and hold your willpower strong, and you don't want to give in to it, but somehow at the end of the day or somewhere you cannot control it, and then you try to taste it. You have it, you like it, and you go back doing your work, and then you again come back and again put your hand to it. And this is common for all of us. We all go through such binge eating, and we think, why you are doing this, why am I even doing this, I don't have the willpower to control something like this. And we keep on having this kind of inner dialogue, not knowing what actually is the solution for this. So for anything, if we talk about solution, it is very, very important that we talk about the root cause and understand what that thing actually does, so that we can devise a better plan and an understanding to figure out the solution. So let me talk to you about what sugar cravings actually is, what is happening internally when you get sugar cravings. So basically, you have craving, your mind is telling that you want to eat sugar. You go and eat sugar, something which is sugar, refined sugar or simple carbohydrate. You eat that sugar. So after eating that sugar, you have an increase of glucose in your bloodstream. So whenever you have an increase of, like, your bloodstream has sugar or glucose, then the pancreas will release insulin. So when the insulin is released from the pancreas, what it does is draw that glucose from the blood and knock at the doors of the cells in your body to store that glucose as energy. So you see, with the eating of your sweet, you have an increase in the sugar in your glucose in your blood stream, and then you have a mechanism by which insulin is there in your blood, and then you store that energy in the cells. This is the whole mechanism. So what that does is, when you have an insulin spike, you feel good, you feel a rush of energy. But what eventually it does is, when there is a sudden increase in the rise by eating something, you will feel a crash also. So that is when you eat, you feel a high, and after some time, when you start searching, you want to eat again, and there is an endless loop. That is when the sugar crashes down. So that is why this is called a vicious circle. So you crave sugar, you eat sugar, there is a rise of glucose in your bloodstream, then the insulin, there is a rise of the insulin as well, and then the insulin asks the cell to store this glucose as energy, and then you feel a crash, and then again you crave. This goes, and this is the internal mechanism that happens when you eat something, when you crave and you satisfy your craving. Now we get to understand why actually this happens. What is the root cause? Is this normal? Is this common? Or how to fight it, and all we are going to talk about in this video. So the root cause is, there can be a lot of factors. So basically, we have our taste buds which want to have the taste of everything: sweet, sour, salty, pungent, astringent. All these are taste, our taste buds want. But everything has to have a balance, like in a limit. Beyond a limit, if you want, or you have that feeling of having more than what you can actually should have, that is called a craving. So basically we should have all kind of taste for our taste buds in our mouth. But you know when it is a craving, when you are not able to feel satiated even after having that. So that's not normal. It is common, but it is not normal. There is a difference between the two. Having a thing, craving which is normal is another thing, and having something which does not help you feel satiated, that is not normal, it is common. So I'll begin sharing about how I feel, what I feel are the root causes of sugar cravings. So it begins with one most important thing, your gut health. Yes, I know you must have heard it before, and this is something which any ailment, any disease, any sickness, any illness, the root cause of it has to be your gut, because gut is the your gut is the place where all that you are eating, all that you are being through the whole day, it's getting processed there. Digestion, assimilation, everything is happening there. So basically you are a complete product of what you are eating and how well you are absorbing and digesting it. So that is it's the main workshop where everything is happening. So if you have any issue, the cause has to go through that, the gut health. So we in our gut there are colonies of good and the bad bacteria. So when you think of bad bacteria, you think they should not be there. No, there is a good, there should be a good equation of the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. Both are needed for the proper functioning of the gut. So but when you have your bad bacteria which outnumber the good bacteria, if you have your good bacteria which are lesser in number than the bad bacteria, then what the bad bacteria, they thrive on sugar. For them sugar is their food. So any time if you have cravings for sugar or sugary stuff or simple carbohydrates, you have to understand that it is coming from the bad bacteria. They are asking you to eat sugar so that they can stay alive, so that they can thrive in your body. It's not you, it's the bad bacteria. Make this clear in the head that it is not you who is craving. So once you start differentiating that I am craving sugar, I am feeling a surge of want to have something sugary, once you understand that it is not you, it is the bad bacteria which is asking you to eat sugar so that it can stay alive in your body. That is the food of the bad bacteria. So when the bad bacteria outnumbers the good bacteria, you will get cravings. So basically you can understand that it has to do with an imbalance of the good and the bad bacteria in the gut. The second can be imbalance in the proportion of the macronutrients. So we have fat, fiber, we have proteins, and we have carbohydrates. So generally carbohydrates are something which when you eat and they go into your, like there is an easy breakdown into sugar. But when they are accompanied by good protein source, fat and fiber, the release of glucose in the blood stream would be slower. So you don't feel an immediate spike of insulin and then crash down. So when your plate looks like a wholesome balanced meal where you have your rice, you have your dal, you have your ghee over the top, and then you have your veggies or buttermilk, whatever it is what you like. So there is a balance restored, and it is not that your plate is completely loaded with carbs and the rest of the stuff is just accompanied with the rice. You have to look at your plate with an eye where you can observe, okay, am I able to strike a balance? And if not, so when you have a balance of macros in your plate, you have good source of protein, you have fat, you have fiber, and then you have carbs also. So basically tryptophan is an amino acid that helps in producing serotonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that regulates your mood. So basically serotonin is produced in your gut and also in your brain. So whenever you are, so basically it's a mood regulating hormone. So if you feel good by eating, by doing something or eating something or something which makes you feel happy, So serotonin is that feel good hormone, and it is produced in the gut. So just imagine if you have a poor gut health, there is a compromised release of serotonin. What you can do to improve that? So your plate has to be a mix of everything, and it should not be heavily loaded towards simple carbs or any form of carbs. Third thing I want to talk about is something which is my important subject, which is my favorite subject, and which I like talking about a lot, because I was one person who used to think that if I sleep less and hustle, it is going to make me more successful. And so many times we think like that, not knowing what we are doing when we are depriving our bodies of correct and the right and the sound sleep. So basically understand one thing, that when you are physically sleeping, your body is going through a detoxification process. It is healing, it is resting, it is repairing, it is recovering, it is removing all the toxins from your body, and all that you want your body to function in a balanced hormone state, and that's called homeostasis. If you want your body to reach that state, you need to have a sound sleep of at least 8 hours where you are not disturbed, and when the internal work can happen in harmony. So if you are sleep deprived, you must have observed yourself that when you are sleep deprived the day before, and the night at night you have not slept well, the next day you feel groggy, you feel there is a brain fog, you cannot take decisions for yourself, and you reach out to more carbs, and you reach out to more sugary stuff. This happens because there are a lot of internal mechanisms that are going when you are sleeping, and the hunger hormones and the satiety hormones, the ghrelin and the leptin, they are like a seesaw. If one is up, other has to down. So when you are sleeping less than what you should, then your ghrelin hormone, which is the hunger hormone, will never let you rest, and then your satiety hormone, the leptin, you will never feel satiated. So if you really want to have a time when you feel that you are satiated with your food and you don't crave anything, try and put in good number of hours in your sleep, and maintaining a good sleep routine and a hygiene, that will take a long way. So understand that while you are physically sleeping, a lot is going inside your body, and give it its due respect, and understand that this internal mechanism has a lot to do have a lot to do with how you are feeling the next day, how you are functioning, how you are able to process, how you are able to channelize your emotions. And coming to emotions, I want to talk about one more important thing which plays an important role when it comes to cravings. So it is stress. So basically when you are stressed, it means your mood is off. Again, coming to serotonin. So if your mood is off, you don't feel good about yourself. And basically when you are stressed up, you tend to eat something which makes you feel good for a certain amount of time, for a certain time. It might make you full, but again the same mechanism happens. You feel good for a certain time, there is a hike, and then there is a crash, and then that's an endless loop that keeps on going. Also when you are stressed up, you the body releases cortisol. We know all that, and when there is an increase in cortisol and under chronic stress, you will see there is an increase in insulin in the body, and this whole thing can draw your can actually make you out of balance. So while we cannot have a stress-free life, but we can always work on managing our stress well. So a lot of things are there. I have made a video on this earlier also. Deep breathing, meditation, pranayam, walk in the nature, journaling, following awareness and focus when you are taking a walk in the nature, keeping your gadgets off. All these go a long way in helping you regulate and manage your stress, because all this have a long see, when you talk about cravings, you would not even know that these things can have an impact on your craving, how you are feeling. So once you start investing in right kind of the lifestyle which is needed, it will go a long way in making you feel good every second of the life. That is the beauty of making your lifestyle your religion. So it's not about some fad diet, some supplement which can make you feel better. It's about investing in yourself, investing in your lifestyle every single day. And once you start doing that, you will see that you don't need to really invest in something which is very huge or out of the box. It is plain, simple, basic things in life which can help you keep away from cravings, and not having to use your willpower to hold yourself up. So the other thing which I wanted to talk about is nutritional mineral and micronutrients deficiency. Yes, apart from the macros, there are a lot of minerals and vitamins which we need for assimilation of the food that we are eating. So there are a lot of them: magnesium, calcium, zinc, iron, chromium. So basically what happens is that these micronutrients play a lot of important roles in kind of understand something, that your body needs food. You have to digest the food so that you can feel energy. So how the digestion happens is that when your food reaches stomach, and then there are micronutrients that play important role in helping you digest that food. So even so if those nutrients are in deficiency, the food will not be absorbed in the right way, and if it is not absorbed in the right way, you will not get that energy. And when that energy is not there, you will feel sluggish, and then the craving comes from there. So magnesium has a lot of around 300 biochemical functions in the body with relate to regarding digestion. Then zinc, chromium, calcium, you have to first see even iron levels. If your iron levels are low, you will generally feel low, and if you have low levels of iron, you will not feel energetic, you will feel tired and sluggish. And so that can also make you your mind thinks that your body is in starvation mode, and then you want to reach out on something which can give you instant energy. So understand one thing, that it is not only about how I can remove my cravings just by holding my willpower strong. No, you have to understand that these have a lot of role. These small things have a lot of huge role to play in how you eat, how you absorb, how you digest food, and how you get energy from your body to live through the day, to perform your functions. So these are some of the root causes, I think. Sleep, stress, deficiency of micronutrients, then gut health, and improper balance of macros. There can be many more, so I have just outlined the first 5 which I think is important. And now coming to solution, what can we do to improve our to like get free or get freedom from cravings? The first and the foremost thing which you can do is address your gut health. Yes, gut health is very important. So what you can do to improve the composition of the microbiota, so that you have good bacteria which are more in number than the bad bacteria. So you understand one thing, that if you keep on feeding your body sugar, your bad bacteria are always going to thrive. So it's like the first choice of eating sugar is yours, but the second choice is never yours. So try and use your kind of discern if it is me who is needing it, or is it the bacteria that is needing. So if I am needing, I can choose for myself. I am not needing, it is a bacteria, I don't want to feed the bacteria. Have this internal dialogue with yourself, and it will go a long way in helping you understand that it's never you. We start identifying ourselves with our craving. We think that I am craving, I am doing. You are not. So an internal dialogue where you can choose, when you can decide, when you can really think, do I need this now, or can I forego it for my health? So when you speak something like this inside, there will be a change in how you decide for yourself. So most of the time we keep on saying, I crave for sugar, I need sugar, I am a sugar addict. So now again, coming back to subconscious mind, your mind is processing all that, and that is how you become. So choose wisely. And then coming back to good bacteria, what you can do to improve the population of good bacteria. Eat food which is nutritionally dense and on which the good bacteria thrives. So a prebiotic and a probiotic is very important. Yes, you have to see whether your gut is in a healthy state or not to be able to digest the the probiotics or not. So it's all a gradual approach what you can do. Then what root cause for cravings is sleep deprivation or stress. So you know now very well how you can manage your stress, how you can sleep better, maintain a proper wind down time when you have enough time, so that you can try and sleep half an hour before that. You have to wind down, remove gadgets, make the room dark, and the light around should be dim, so that it allows melatonin to be secreted, which induces sleep. This hormone is responsible for helping you sleep better. But if you don't have an environment which you can sleep, melatonin, if your lights are on, and if there is like the melatonin is not secreted, because it does not understand whether it is time for your body to sleep or not. When the room is dark and you create an environment, you will sleep better. So if you sleep better, you have less sugar cravings. So if you can try doing one day at a time and see the difference, in 1 month's time you will see that you are craving less and less of sugar. Third thing is stress, I have already talked about. And fourth thing is exercise. So movement and exercise is important, neither strenuous, not something which does not come as exercise. So basically what exercise does, it also releases serotonin, it also releases dopamine, which makes you feel good. So when you divert your mind from cravings and start investing your time in something which can help you function better, something which makes you feel good, and something which is good for and constructive for your health, you will see yourself feeling better without satisfying those cravings. Like a short walk, or jumping jacks, or skipping, something which you used to do in your childhood, can 10 minutes a day can bring about a lot of change. Regarding this, it is very important to see that you don't jump onto doing something which your body cannot do just because you have to control your sugar cravings. You are doing this just gradually. Everything should start with a simple basic approach, and then you can scale it up later on. If you have been on a course of antibiotics, it is also very important that you see that whether you have done supplementation with a good B complex and probiotics, because antibiotics are like a broad spectrum. It will kills the bad bacteria, it also kills the good bacteria. So your composition of the gut microbiota can be erratic. So for that, you need to supplement with a B complex and a probiotic. Asking your health practitioner about it is very, very important. We mindlessly pop antibiotics, not understanding the impact when it is not even needed. So be careful and be mindful about it. Regarding something which I want to talk about, I will make a separate video on how you can start doing that. You all must have heard about intermittent fasting and circadian rhythm, but to be able to do it in the right way, you need a little bit of guidance and understanding what is the right way. But coming to the solution, one more of this is intermittent fasting with circadian rhythm. So when you fast, your body detoxifies. So when you are detoxifying, understand that there are bad bacteria, there is an overpopulation of bad bacteria. So when you are detoxifying, even the bad bacteria are getting killed. So that can restore some balance in your gut microbiota. So start fasting. It's like, I can't say how helpful it is for your healing. I have done that in the last 3-4 months, but it's very important that you understand that fasting does not mean mindlessly fasting for long hours, because people think that if they fast for long hours, they will lose weight faster. You don't know what is going on inside your body. There are hormones which get affected if you, especially for women, there are hormones which get affected. The thyroid hormone gets affected if you're fasting, if you're doing prolonged fasting and doing different cycles of your different periods of your menstrual cycle. It is not right to do things mindlessly, not understanding what impact it can bring. So the most simple and the most basic and the most beautiful, with no hassles attached, is circadian rhythm fasting, which means sunset to sunrise. So try and have your last food or dinner as close as possible to the sunset. If you cannot have at 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7, but as closer to sunset as possible, and then break your fast after the sunrise, like 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whenever you feel. So you, by this, if you follow this, you have already done 12 hours without putting any rigorous effort. And this is so beautiful. I can't begin to say. Once you start falling into this rhythm, your body will automatically tell you that it is hungry now. And when you look at the clock, it is time for sunset. And then when you get up in the morning, you understand that your body is in a kind of an effortless flow. You are not doing anything, and your hunger comes at the right time, when it is time for you to eat. And when at 1:30 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you feel that you need your lunch, and that's the time when the digestive fire is maximum and you can absorb the food well. So you can have a whole like complete meal where you have roti, sabji, rice, whatever you want, you can have that. And dinner should be the lightest meal of the day. So this is the beauty of circadian rhythm. Also making sure to understand one thing, that your body likes repetition and your body likes discipline. If you eat at particular time every day, your body will reward you for that. Your body will give you such amazing results when you start following intermittent fasting with circadian rhythm. Means being in tune with the nature's clock. Your body's clock is in tune with the nature's clock, and when your hormones are balanced, your hunger is balanced, you feel hungry at the same time, you have more energy, your detoxification is happening, the digestion is happening before you go to sleep, so that you have good number of hours before you go to sleep, so that during the sleeping time, your body can the system inside can concentrate on other functions which are important, the repair, the recovery, the removal of toxins and all that. So these are basic things. See, if you really think that should be something out of the box, then I'm sorry, I cannot help. But if you follow these small things, they can go a long way. And honestly, these are the small things which can make a lot of difference. So now I'm going to share my personal story with regard to Candida. I remember in December, when I was in the second month of my healing, I had a call with Ankita, and I told her, Ankita, I am sorry to say this to you, but I feel I am not myself. She asked me why. I said that I don't understand why I feel so, like I have a business where I make granola, nut butters and sell. So I have to taste it. But the moment I am tasting, I'm not able to stop. I have eaten granola and I feel bad about it, and I'm not able to control it. And I feel I am guiding people. How can I be like this? I told her all this, and she said, Sapna, this is not you. This is Candida. And that day I kind of made a space for this in my head, that it is not me, it is Candida. So I have to stop feeding the Candida. This dialogue, I just told myself that this is the last leg, and if I hold myself strong now, I will be on the other side. So if I stop feeding the source will die, and if that dies, I am a winner. So that is what I did. I just brought this concept in my mind. It is not me, it is Candida. And it was such a moment for me when I decided I am not going to have any more giving to my cravings. And since that day, I started feeling like within 1 week, 10 days, I started feeling that I no longer look at the food with the same kind of an intention. With the intention that I have to eat it, that greedy feeling for sugary things, it had completely vanished when I just brought this concept in my mind that it's not me that is craving, it is Candida. And I thank Ankita from the bottom of my heart for bringing this perspective, because it was a game changer for me. So you also try to find out what can make you bring this dialogue, that it's the bad bacteria in the gut that wants to thrive. Just think about it, that it is doing like this in your stomach and wanting you to eat more and more sugar. So are you going to feed that? Tell yourself, no, I will be strong and I will work on my gut health alongside, and it will surely help me arrive at a breakthrough where I no longer crave. Now at this point in time, I only have 3 meals, and I have my father keeps on sending sweets and all. I don't eat, and when I look at them, I feel, are these the same stuff I used to crave so much? My whole psychology around food has changed. It is so beautiful. Yes, one more important thing which I want to share is that most of us, because we have some kind of emptiness in our heart, some kind of an emotional feeling which is not satisfied, so we look at food in a way where it can satisfy our emotional need. Food can only fuel you, food can satiate you when you are hungry, but your emotional needs can never be satisfied with food. So understand, if you have an emotional relationship with food, which all of us have at some time in our life, then the answer to what you are seeking is not in the food, it is in something else. So when you address your emotional issues, challenges, the right way, the food will be released from that bondage. So this is a very, very important thing. So many of us are having relationship issues, some challenges in life, and for us food is a crutch, but it is not right to think that food can satisfy what your heart needs. Your heart needs love, and love can be only satisfied with love or a feeling of self love for yourself. So when you try to find the right channel to address your emotions, the food part of your kind of depending on food to fulfill you will be gone, and then you will have food just to because you like eating, it's a one thing, and because you want to fuel your body, it's a one thing, and food satisfies your need for survival or your need for growth, for feeling that vitality in your life is one thing. So try and distinguish between when you are eating food just to, because it's an emotional crutch for you, and it's all a process. We all evolve, we all grow, and it's a journey. Don't try to arrive at a conclusion, just keep on unfolding, keep on learning, and keep on correcting yourself every single day. Being aware, being focused can take you a long way. I hope somehow this video, I might have missed certain points, so I might get back again. So if you have any queries, do let me know, and I hope we all have sugar cravings free life and we enjoy food as fuel, and which gives us energy, and it is completely free from the emotional need which we want to fulfill through food. And I hope we all feel happy, healthy and energetic. Thank you guys.